This is the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
This is a serious decision, and I'm engaged in serious deliberations.
On this edition of the program, we will hear from the author of Outnumbered, Chronicles of a Manhattan Conservative. Columnist, commentator, and dog lover. Jedediah Bila will be here. We'll find out if Sarah Palin can still get into the race for the White House and ultimately win it. And later we'll look back at the week. Governor Palin got her grr on, going grizzly on one colleague after her comments were taken out of context again. Imagine that. First, though, we will delve into the possibility of a Palin candidacy and so much more with our special guest. Today we are joined by someone that, unless you've been living under a rock, you've no doubt seen or heard or read by now. She's a very unique woman with a very unique name. Jedediah Bila, the author of Outnumbered, Chronicles of a Manhattan Conservative. I've read it. You should too. She also contributes to several publications, and you can catch her on many a TV panel or as a radio guest, and she's even spent some time as a school teacher. How about that? We're so happy to have her here today. Jedediah Bila, welcome to the Palin Report on SaraNet Radio.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Jedediah, you've done a lot to promote Governor Palin. You always speak highly of her. You point out her leadership qualities on the air, and you've spoken at Palin events. Can you tell us why Palin's for you?
You know, I just appreciate, first of all, I appreciate her record. And when she showed up on the scene in 2008, I hadn't really heard of her. I didn't know much about her, so I did my research. And I found that the woman I discovered was very different from the caricature that had been painted of her by the mainstream media. So I did a lot of digging. I found that she had a solid record of accomplishment in Alaska, which I very much appreciate. I think she has a lot of consistency in terms of her free market approach, in terms of doing what she actually said she was going to do and sticking to it. I haven't yet found anything hiding under a rock with respect to her that I've said, oh, wow, that policy decision doesn't fit the big picture. Everything is really consistent and reliable, which I think when we look at a lot of conservative potential and declared candidates is hard to find. I also appreciate her authenticity. I've had the chance to interview her. Although I don't know her very well, I have met her. And she's really a real person. She's really a non-politician politician. She doesn't seem to play by their business-as-usual games. And I think that comes across in a very basic, simple conversation with her. And for me, that's something that I think Washington needs a lot more of. So I very much appreciate both those things.
Now, you said months ago that you thought Governor Palin could win the nomination and go on to be President Obama. I happen to agree with you then. Now Halloween is in sight. The governor's yet to jump in. Do you think she can still get into this thing and come out on top?
I do think so. I don't know what she will do, and I've been wavering back and forth saying, you know, will she run, won't she run? I don't know what her plans are just yet, and I don't know what kind of infrastructure she has set up, if she has made up her mind what's going on behind the scenes. And I also don't know what kind of campaign she'll run. I think that all of that stuff needs to be looked at, and she could do a phenomenal job running her campaign or not. We don't know because, you know, we're outsiders here. We don't really know what's going to happen. If she made the right moves, I think she absolutely could win the nomination. I think people are hungry for strong leadership, they're hungry for authenticity, and they're hungry for executive experience because we have someone in the White House now who had none, and it shows. So they're really hungry for a lot of things that she represents. And I think if she did win the nomination on the GOP side, I think she could easily defeat him, with her record being quite stellar and his being quite abysmal. So, yes.
I want to get into the Palin-Obama potential matchup in a moment, but first, you know, I think a lot of folks are less than pleased, shall we say, with this perceived Romney-Perry battle, and with Obama really on the ropes right now. The mindset is, yes, let's make sure he's out, but let's also put a constitutionalist in there, a conservative. If a Bachmann or a Kaine don't make large gains, isn't there a growing group longing for Palin, one because they find her to be the best potential president, but also because they don't find Perry or Romney to be even close to her?
Yes, I think that there is a group of conservatives, and I'm one of them, who has been searching for a solid, principled conservative in the race. And I think a lot of people thought Perry was going to be that guy. When they started looking at his record, they realized, hold on a second, there's a lot of things here I don't like. There's a Gardasil mandate. There are immigration issues that are quite extensive and troubling. There are a lot of things he said he's accomplished that he perhaps hasn't. There are some crony capitalism links there that are unpleasant. So they haven't found what they want. Mitt Romney, although I think he's a great orator, has not stood firm on an issue over the past 2 decades. He has stood on the right, left, bounces back and forth. So it's always like, will the real Mitt Romney please stand up? I think people are struggling with that. And while I think that Kaine does present something new and refreshing, I think that the difference is that Palin represents a lot of what Kaine also represents. I think they're both authentic, and I've met Herman Cain and have an immense amount of respect for him and his business experience. I think they both have business experience. I think that Governor Palin has a little bit more political experience and has a solid record of achievement as governor that can add a little bit of an extra dimension to it and give a little bit more, inspire a little bit more confidence with people as a result of what she's done in politics and in government already.
See, Jedediah, that's why we like you. You go ahead and paraphrase a Marshall Mathers quote. You know, that's good stuff. Oh, you know, you're right, though, about Romney. I've heard it a million times. He has done pretty well lately, especially the last debate, you know, from a speaking standpoint. But, you know, you look at him on paper and you say, okay, this looks good. But you look a few years back and you could say, well, he was, you know, flip-flopping on about 10 different things, core principled issues. So that's a whole other ballgame. But do you think Palin stacks up with Obama better than anyone else in the current declared GOP field?
I do, because I think that her record provides the biggest contrast. I think that in order to defeat Barack Obama, you really need someone who is going to be his opposite. I think it has to be somebody who has a solid record of achievement, which he doesn't, who has put policy forth that has worked, which he hasn't, who is a strong principled conservative, who can, you know, excite the base, who can excite Tea Party independence. Now, Palin's challenge will be, of course, correcting a lot of the nonsense that's out there about who she is and what she represents. So we're going to have to tackle the media again. They will recycle old talking points. She will, you know, the people will say that she was a quitter. She'll have to answer another 35 times as to why she resigned, which if she plays those cards right, is a strength, not a weakness. That resignation is a testament to her character and the fact that she prioritized her state over her potential political future. If she does all of those things, I think she makes a wonderful contrast to him, and I think people will be very receptive to it.
I'm glad you brought that up. I've always found one of the most impressive things about Governor Palin is how she has taken all of these unprecedented hits. I mean, these visceral attacks and smear jobs like we've never seen before, really, anywhere against anyone. Is that a trait in her you admire? And further, does that speak to how tough she is as a potential presidential hopeful because they've already thrown everything at her?
Absolutely. She's still standing. I have immense respect for her. I have immense respect for Todd, I have to say, for not having, punched someone at this point between the Joe McGinnises of the world and all the nonsense that's come his way. I think he has quite a bit of character as well. And I think she's been thoroughly vetted. You know, this is a candidate who, if she steps onto the scene, they can recycle old talking points that aren't true. They can throw some nonsense at her, but they haven't found anything. You had political operatives that arrived in Alaska to try to dig something up that they could put in print, that they could get out there to try to. Everything has been disproven. These ethics complaints, these frivolous ethics complaints have been discharged. None of them have been true. So they've thrown everything at her already. And I think eventually they're going to have to deal with her policy, and that's what they're afraid of because that's pretty rock solid.
What's the sense you're getting out there? You're out and about. You talk to a lot of people. What's the Palin pulse? Do people want her in this race?
I think there are a lot of grassroots people, Tea Party members across the country that are excited to see if she will get in. That would definitely support her. I think you have a lot of GOP establishment forces that are very nervous because she will shake up the machine from top to bottom. She won't seek their approval. She won't seek a pat on the back, and she will run a very unconventional campaign where she won't need them so much, and that's very scary to people who are used to feeling needed and who need to feel needed in order to keep their egos moving. So I think that a lot of people on the right who are part of the establishment are afraid, and a lot of people who are part of the grassroots are excited. And there are others also who feel that regardless of what she does, if she decides to run or not, she will be a pivotal force, and she will be speaking out for issues that are important to the country and possibly endorsing someone if she decides not to run, or if nothing else, holding President Obama accountable in a way that no one else really has done.
And the times, are they a-changing with that jolt felt in New York with Bob Turner taking over the seat that Anthony Weiner once held? Are places that were never in play before for conservatives now possibly in play?
I would say so, yes. Even, I wrote a book called Outnumbered, Chronicles of a Manhattan Conservative, and I talk about being a conservative in Manhattan. I think there are still, obviously a large number of people on the far left even in the center left, who won't budge, who feel that Barack Obama hasn't been given enough time, who are too committed to blaming President Bush and blaming conservatives to open their eyes and see what's actually going on. But I am noticing a lot of people who are disgusted with the president and who see that his policies haven't worked and feel that they've been lied to, that all of his hope and change has sort of vanished into what Michelle Malkin calls a culture of corruption, and they're seeing it before their very eyes. And a lot of those people aren't willing to wear blinders anymore. They have their eyes open, they're paying attention, and those are a lot of independent voters that I think will shift this election. I personally don't see how this president gets reelected today. I think he will be a one-term president.
Is there a deadline you put on Sarah Palin for a decision here? I mean, there's obvious the legal deadlines in different states when they come up, but I mean, for a realistic chance here, I mean, Reagan was late, but it was a different time. She has to get in this soon?
My opinion, if I was advising her, which I'm not, and I don't know that she needs my advice or anyone else's, but I would say close. It's getting close. I would hope that she had said, that she was going to make a decision around the end of September. That sounded like a good time for me. I hope that happens within the next couple of weeks. I hope she makes a decision so that people know if they're going to support her, if they need to look at other candidates, what kind of role she'll be playing. I think she'll play, like I said, a very positive role regardless of what she does. But I'm not going to put a timeline on her. I think she needs to do what's best for her family, and I'm pretty sure that if she is going to run, she has a lot of stuff figured out already behind the scenes that we may not know, but I trust her judgment on a lot of issues, and I think she'll make the right choice.
How's the pooch?
The pooch is fabulous. She's currently watching me talk. She has some serious Palin gear herself, so perhaps
Excellent.
she'll be wearing that in the next few weeks, but she sends her regards to everyone.
Palin pups.
Palin, exactly.
and look, hey, listen, in places, Chicago, Philadelphia, places in New Jersey, dogs do vote, so.
Yeah, that's true. I should try to get her out there. And I've always said if we don't get a fantastic candidate, it's not too late for Emma. So Emma 2012 might be coming around the bend. You never do know.
Jedediah Bila, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jedediah Bila here on SaraNet Radio. Be sure to visit jedediahbila.com. Governor Palin hit the talk show circuit again this past week, appearing on the Record with Greta Van Susteren on Fox News, and also on Freedom Watch with Judge Napolitano on Fox Business. And on both shows, that million-dollar question came up. Napolitano asked the governor, now that September is over, is an announcement coming?
I hold my political cards close to my chest. I've certainly learned lessons along those lines, and I'm going to continue to do that until I'm ready to make an announcement. This is a serious decision, and I'm engaged in serious deliberations.
And the governor also addressed a comment from fellow Fox contributor Juan Williams. Williams ripped Palin for her recent thoughts about Herman Cain, saying she shouldn't have referred to him as the flavor of the month. Well, she actually said flavor of the week, and she was actually referring to the media's portrayal of Cain's candidacy, not the man. It's all comical since Palin is a friend of Cain, and the governor and the businessmen have always had a great relationship. And like usual, Palin took the bull by the horns and addressed the comments head on.
But it was Juan Williams who said he thought it was a nasty comment that I made. I think it's nasty when, when a colleague takes a shot when they don't know what they're talking about. No, I said that what the media tends to do is kind of gin up controversy and propel this flavor of the week. And I'm not saying that Herman Cain is the flavor of the week. I'm one of his biggest fans, and I would never dismiss him or speak negatively about him. I'm saying that in this fast-moving 24/7 news cycle that is our world today, that the media does have to kind of gin up some controversy and intrigue so that viewers tune in. And there's a lot of competition in the media world, and in this quasi-reality show, it seems, that's being created in the GOP primary. It's just kind of the nature of the beast right now. And I think anybody would be hard-pressed to argue against what I observe, and that is that, Rick Perry, he's propelled out there by the media as the flavor of the week, and then he's kind of shot down. Well, perhaps they want to do that to Herman Cain, or they'll do that to, say, Mr. Johnson or Michelle Bachmann a few weeks ago. And then that person kind of finds themselves back to where the pollsters and the voters
let me ask you this,
are
Governor
placing them.
Palin.
So it has a lot to do with the media, and I didn't say that it's the GOP that propels them as the flavor of the week.
Are these debates?
Both cuts from the governor coming on Freedom Watch on Fox Business. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. Be sure to visit Saranet.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin, our radio show, plus plenty of articles from yours truly and our Saranet contributors. Also, follow us on Twitter at Saranet Radio. I want to thank everyone here at Saranet Radio. Thanks to Jedediah Bila, and thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.